So your online homework due tonight will be 7.5. It's only one homework due tonight, and then after that you got 3 due on next week, and another 3 more due on the following week. So depends on how fast I can teach because we only got 1.5 weeks left. So let's talk about your finals. So your finals is going to be in CLA 116, which is on Wednesday, the 15th from 2 o'clock to 3:30. Your final is going to consist of chapter 7.4 and 7.5, and then 8.1 till 8.4. And if depends on how much I can cover. So if I cover 8.6, then it will be involved 8.6. Otherwise, it will not be in 8.6. So these are the so I put a question mark on 8.6. So it depends on how fast I can cover. You're allowed to use your graphing calculator in this case. So make sure if you don't have a graphing calculator, you can use your regular normal calculators. And also don't forget, you can bring 1 page of notes for your finals here. So just a front page, normal size, standard size paper. So this is your finals here. We will have a review for your finals on Monday. Okay. So although Monday, the 13th is a finals week, so we will have a review on this Monday, same time, 2 o'clock to 3:30. We will have a review finals here. This is via Zoom. So that will be the review. Anyone have any questions with your finals? Questions you have for me? So we will continue with chapter 8. So when we do chapter 6 and 7, when we do trigonometry part, the triangles that we are using, they are all right triangles, so 90 degrees triangle. So when we what happens if your triangle is not 90 degrees? We call that as we call those triangles as oblique triangles, means that the triangle has no right triangles. Then chapter 8 comes in. So chapter 8 is mostly we talk about two laws that is important. 8.1 is called the law of sine. And then 8.2 is called the law of cosine. Yes, today we will do these 2 sections together. This is used for this law is when you have your triangles are oblique triangles. Okay, so the first thing I need to teach you is how you label your triangles, because if you label wrongly, it will be wrong. Everything is wrong. So we will use capital ABC for angles, and we will use lowercase abc for the sides. And when you label your angles, the side has to be opposite from the angles. So example is, if you label this is A, B, and C, the angle A and angle B and angle C, then the one that go across it is going to be the side. So this A across it, this is the side A, and this is the side B, and this is the side C. Okay, so this is how you label it. So make sure you guys know this. If you label wrongly, again, everything is wrong. One thing I want to point out to you guys here is your angles. So if you add all the angles up, so angle A plus angle B plus angle C, this is something that is basic. You should know this. Inside a triangle, you should get a total of 180 degrees. Okay. So this is the most basic formulas that you need to know. So the sum of all the angles inside a triangle is 180 degrees. Now, usually there are six variables here, 3 angles and 3 sides. So usually the question will provide 3 of these 6. So the question will provide 3. You have to find the other 3. Okay. So if the question will provide 3 of the missing, so that means they will provide either capital B, or a small b, or something else. So you also need to know the name of it. So this is all basic stuff. So if a question is provide us a site, let's do that. If a question provide us an angle site, this is called angle AAS. Okay. Or it can be any 2 angles, and the site has to be not from the same site. So so it can be there's so many ways to do this. You can give these 2 angles and this side. So as long as the question gives us 2 angles and the side, we call this triangle angle side. We will use law of sine to do this. This is very important. Okay. If the question is provide us an angle and a side and a side, so we call it as side angle, or angle side, which I do not want to use that because it's bad to write that. So we always say side angle. So if I provide you an angle and 2 sides, this is also law of sine. Okay. And if you have such case, this is called the ambiguous case. What is the meaning when I say it is an ambiguous case? Means that if you have a side angle situation, you can have no triangle, you can have 1 triangle, and you can have 2 triangles. So this is the only time that you will get this ambiguous case. Only you can get 1 of those, and I'll show you how to figure it out. If a question provide you a side angle side, means they give you a side here and an angle and a side. So that means that it has to be the 2 sides will form an angle. This is called a side angle side. This is used law of cosine. Okay. And the last one is if a question gives you all 3 sides, SSS, you can you also use law of cosine. So that so make sure you guys know when you look at your triangles and figure out what angles what kind of information provided to you. And again, the question always gives you 3 of these 6 missing variables. You have to find the other 3. So make sure you guys draw a picture. This is very important when you do this chapter 8.1 and 8.2. Draw your pictures and then figure out what kind of triangle is this, and then tell me what law you use. Is it law of sine or law of cosine? Now, if it's law of sine, then the formula is very easy. Is sine A over A equals to sine B over B equals to sine C over C. And I know there are 3 of this. Usually you only need to pick 2. Okay. Then you cross multiply. I think you guys know how to cross multiply. Okay. And this is also very important, is because this chapter 8, majority of the questions are all in degree. So when you guys look at your calculator, make sure your calculator set in the mode of degree. So I got students in the test that set the mode in radian. The rest is all going to be wrong. Okay. So please take out your calculator And please set the mode to degree and stay on degree, because otherwise you will be in big trouble if you change it to radian. I think your online homework for this chapter 8.1 and 8.2, they're all going to be in degrees here. Okay. Now, this is the law of sine, which is given us right over here. This is the formula for law of sine here. So you can either do sine A over A, sine B over B, sine C, or you can do A sine A over sine A, B over sine B, C over sine C. If you want to use this, the first one, the A on top, this is good if you want to find the side. So if a question is asking you to find the side A or the side B or the side C, then I will recommend you to use this. For this case, it's best if the question asking you to find the angles. Okay, so because it's been switched around, so that's how you do the angles here. Find the angles. So depends on the question. So you can flip-flop this. Now, as you know that this has an ambiguous case. Okay, you can have 0, 1, or 2 triangles using law of sine. So how do you figure out this ambiguous case? First, it has to be SSA. 2, once you use the law of sine to find this. Okay, so in order for you to get a 0 triangles, when you find the arcsine of a number in your calculator, they give you error. Okay, so when you guys try to, if you have an SSA case and then you do law of sine, you plug it in and then you try to put this into your calculator and you try to figure out what is angle A and put in your calculator, and boop, here comes the error. That means it will have no triangles. Okay. If you have one triangle, so now I'm talking about this. This is very important. So one triangle in this case is when you find the arcsine of this number. And let's say you want to find the angle A. Angle A in this case is a degree. Let's say is 30 degrees. Okay. Now, because when you use the sine, sine is positive in quadrant 1. And sine is also positive in quadrant 2, which is 150 degrees. Okay, so this is the one that you need to watch out here for this SSA case is if you find no error, means you get yourself an angle, example 30 degrees, then actually this have 2 answers. One is 30 and one is 150. That's why you can get either 1 or 2 triangles here. How do you know you got 1 or 2 triangles? Is you use back the sum. So what you do is you take the sum. Okay. So if you find out that if your sum of this, you only got 2 angles in this case. If you find out the sum and your sum of these angles are more than 180 degrees, you will get only 1 triangle. Okay. But if your sum is exactly 180 degrees, sorry. Let me do it again. So you got 2 angles that you have to sum. So if these 2 angles came out to be more than 180 degrees when you add up, you only get 1 triangle. So if your sum came up, so if you sum these 2 angles and it came out to be less than 180 degrees, you will get 2 triangles. And what happens when you get 2 triangles? You have to do twice. So you have to do twice the work in this case. Okay. You will see an example. I'll show it to you. So this is only happens when you have law of sine, SSA, which is the side-side angle ambiguous case. You will get this. Okay. For law of cosine, the formula for law of cosine is a little bit tricky because the formula is a little bit icky. Okay. So the law of cosine formula is given us by this formula, and they all looks the same. It looks like a Pythagorean theorem, a squared equals to b squared plus c squared. And then you minus 2bc cosine a. Or you can switch around, b squared minus equals to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b, or the other way around. Again, this form has a square, so you need to take the square root of it. So a lot of students forget to take the square root. And this form is used if a question wants you to find the side. Okay. The alternative form is if you take this standard form and if you solve for cosine A, that means you subtract b squared, subtract c squared, and then over by negative 2bc, you will get into this alternative form. This form is used to find angles. So depends on what questions they want you to find. If a question wants you to find the side, then I will recommend you to use this formula. If the angle is asking you to find the, if a question is asking you to find the angles, then I will recommend you to use this formula. Now, when you use this formula in your calculator, make sure that you put parentheses on the top one, and put the parentheses on the bottom. Okay, so this is very important because a lot of students, when they use a calculator, they forgot to put parentheses, and then you move the cosine over to become arc cosine. So this is the law of cosine in this case. Okay. The last thing about is to find the areas. So if the question provide you all three sides, A, B, and C, you can use the Heron's area formula. The area of this triangle is given us by the square root of s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c, where s in this case is a plus b plus c over 2. Okay, so this is your formula in this case. This is to find the area if the question provide you all three sides, side A, side B, side C. But what happens if a question only provide you two sides and an angle? Then the formula to find that, so if a question did not provide you all three sides, they only provide you two sides and an angle, then the formula to find the area is 1/2 BC sine A, or 1/2 AB sine C, or 1/2 AC sine B. So this is only happens if a question only provide you two sides and an angle. Okay, but if a question provide you three sides, then you will use the Heron's area formula to do it. So these are the formulas to find the law of sine and law of cosine. So I'll do some example in this case, so you guys know what we're doing here. So usually in the test, I will give you question like this, like number 4 here, where I will ask you to figure out what law to use. Is that law of sine or is that law of cosine? And then after that, you have to solve the triangles in this case. Okay, so don't forget, very important, AAS and SSA is to use law of cosine. SAS and SSS is using to find law of sine for those two, and law of cosine of the last two. Okay, so let me give you an example here. So question number 4 here is given us that A in this case is 8, C in this case is 5, and B in this case is 40 degrees. So again, make sure your calculator is in degrees. So in the test, I will ask you to draw a picture, and then after that, try to solve, is this law of sine or is this law of cosine? So we need to draw the picture here. Okay. Again, make sure you know how to label. This is A, B, and C. You can switch your angle ABC around, but make sure you switch around, the sides has to be switched. So anyone know how to label this triangles? Anyone know how to label that?
lowercase c will be on the bottom.
So C in the bottom, so this will be 5. And how about 8?
Little a would be on the right.
So on the right side, so this is 8. And this is 40 degrees. That's your angle B. So can someone tell me what kind of triangle is this? Is it so what is provided to us here?
Side angle.
So this is side, angle, side. This is SAS. This is side, angle, side. So if you take geometry class in your high school, you should know about this side, angle, side, because you do this a lot in your geometry class when you prove your geometry. So for this case, what kind of law should we use? So which law should we use for this case? Is that law of sine or law of cosine? So since this is a side, angle, side, we will use law of cosine. So we will use this for law. Okay. So what is missing in this case is side B, angle A, and angle C. So the first we need to find here is to find what is the side B in this case. So side B in this case, we have to use law of cosine. So if you look at law of cosine in this case, law of cosine says B squared equals to A squared plus C squared equals to 2AC cosine B. Okay, so make sure that this is caps, the rest is all small letters. So this is B squared, like Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus C squared equal minus 2 times A times C times cosine B. So what you do here is we know A, we know C, we know the angle B. You just plug it into this formula. So it will be 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 8 times 5 times cosine 40 degrees. And then because you got the square, so in here you need to take the square root. So take the square root of this and you get your answer. So take out your calculator and start punching this in. Don't forget to change your mode to degree mode. You can use your graphing calculator, so you can use any kind of calculators you can, except for cell phone calculators, you can use that. So go ahead. Anyone got an answer?
Is it 27.716?
2 times 8 times 5 cosine 40.
It's 5.2 because I forgot.
Don't forget to take a square root. So you have once you get your answers, take a square root of it. So your answer in this case is 5.265. Okay, so this is B. Now we need to find angle A. Okay. Now in order for you to find your angle A, we use the formula. So so this is again we use law of cosine. So if you look at your formula for the angle to find angle A, is cosine A equals to B squared plus c squared minus a squared all over by 2bc. So this is how you find your angle A here. So the formula says that is b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over by 2bc, 2 times b times c. Okay, so that's the formula we use. Okay, what we do is we plug the numbers in there. So mostly, again, it has a domino effect, means that if your b is wrong, the rest is going to be wrong here. Okay, so we found out b in this case is this number. So when you put this in your calculator, make sure you have a parenthesis, because don't forget to put parentheses in this case. Now, a lot of calculators have your ANS button. So I will going to use the ANS. ANS stands for your previous answer, which is this 5.265. So if you are lazy to type 5.265, I will put ANS. So you put ANS squared plus C. C in this case is 5 squared, which is 25. Minus A squared. A squared is 8 squared, 64. Close your parentheses. Over by, open your parentheses, 2 times B. B is this number, so I will use ANS. Times C. C is 5. So if you did 5.265 in your calculator, then you can use ANS here. So go ahead and do this in your calculator. Make sure you have parentheses. Anyone going to answer here? You get negative 0.2143, something like that. Okay. Now this is not your answer because this is cosine A. So in order for you to find A, you have to do the arc cosine of this number. Or in other words, ANS. Because again, if you calculate this, your ANS is this number. So you just do the ANS here. Otherwise, you have to type in those numbers in there. So the arc cosine of your answer here, in this case, is 102 point something. And usually we want this in 2 decimals. So now we found angle A. Lastly, in order for us to find angle C, now you can still use law of cosine to find it. But as you know that the sum of all the 3 triangles should be 180. So in order for you to find angle C, you just subtract those 2 angles from 180. So the first angle we have is 40, and the second angle is just what we found here, 102.38. So again, you subtract it from 180, and you will get your answer in this case. So if you take 180, subtract 40, subtract this 102.38, this will came out to be 37.62 degrees. So this is how we apply law of cosine. The formula is given, is this fixed. That means I would highly recommend you guys to write the formula in that note that you're allowed to use in your finals. So very important. And the rest is mostly based on your calculator. And it has a domino effect. So if you make a mistake on the beginning, the rest is all going to be wrong. Questions? All right. This is question 5. Given us that A is 160, angle B is 12 degree. angle C is 7 degrees. So I want you guys to apply, draw this picture. And then tell me what kind of triangle is this? Is that AAS, SSA? You know, there's so many different types, right? So you need to tell me what kind of triangle is that. And then after you tell me what law to use. So Andrew, can you help me to draw this, label these triangles?
Yeah. 160 would be on the right side, opposite of angle A. 7 degrees would be on the top on angle C, and then 12 degrees would be on the bottom right.
Yep. So what kind of triangle we call that?
Angle side. Right?
Angle side or angle side angle.
Angle side angle. Yeah.
Yep. So I just want to point out to you that this is angle side, and I will also change this. Also, it can use for angle side angle. Okay. So this one is also can be used for angle side angle. Okay. So we should still the same. So is angle side or angle side angle is still law of so in this case it's angle side angle. So we will be using law of sine. Okay. So that is the first move you need to do. Now, so we need to find what is angle A is. We need to find what is the side C and the side B. Now, angle A you can find very easily without even using the law. So can someone tell me how you figure out angle A?
161.
So you take 180 minus the remaining, right? 7 and 12. So this is 161 degrees. So once you find angle A, then we can find side B. So using law of sine, B over sine B, because we need to find B. Now, which pair do we know? Do we know A's or do we know C's? Do we know A sides or C's? Now C's we do not know because we doesn't know the C yet, right? But we know the A's. So we can do the side A in this case is 160. And the angle A we just found is 161. Okay, so we know we have no angle A's, and B in this case, angle B is given us by 12 degrees. So you just plug this over here by 12 degrees. And again, class, this is all in degrees. Make sure you change your calculator. So in order for us to find B, we just multiply this by sine 12 degrees. So go ahead, take out your calculator. 160 over sine 161 times sine 12 degrees. They're all in degrees. You will get B. Anyone go ahead and answer? Anyone?
Is it 102.177?
Yep. 102.18. Some of you asked me how many decimal places, 2 or 3 decimal places is fine. I'm not picky. I'm more picky on your work shown here than worry about how many decimal places you need to do. Now, the last thing we're gonna do here is to figure out C. Can someone tell me how you find side C here? Can you use Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus B squared equals to C squared. Can we use that? Can we do that?
No.
No. And why we cannot do this, Kelvin? This is not right triangle. Okay, so do not do that. I got students, oh, use A squared plus Pythagorean. So please know that chapter 8, you cannot use Pythagorean because it's no longer a right triangle. So how do you find C? So it's the same thing that we did here. So C over by sine C. So sine C in this case is 7 degrees. We're still gonna use your A here. So it's 160 over by sine 161. And then you multiply the sine 7 here. And use your calculator to do this. Now, I think you guys know how to do this, right? Use your calculator. I think you guys know how to do this. Just plug it in and it'll be fine. Now, what we did so far is we did law of cosine and we did law of sine. And the law of sine that we did here is not an ambiguous case because it is an AAS or ASA. Law of, don't forget, SSA is the only one that is ambiguous case. So we're gonna do one example or a couple more examples on this case. Okay, the one that is an we haven't done any ambiguous case yet. So so let's take a look at another type of triangles. Let's do this one. This is number 8.1, number 3. The other two that we just do is 8.2. A in this case is what? 58 degrees. B in this case, little a in this case is 4.5. And the B is 5. Okay. So again, this is in degrees. So I want you to draw the triangles up for me. This is very important class. It looks easy, but I still have students make mistakes in here. Okay, apply this to your right triangles. Anyone?
Side angle side.
So this is A, B, C. So we got the 58 degrees here. Across from A is 4.5. Across from B is 5, right? So this is actually is SSA, side angle. And side angle, if you refer back to here, this is SSA. It is law of cosine and it has ambiguous case. Yes. So this is law of cosine. And this can have 0, 1, or 2 triangles. Okay, this is special. So first, we use a law of sine first. So what is missing in this case is angle B, angle C, and side C. So which one you think we should find first?
Side C.
No, because we doesn't know. If you want to find side C, you need to know your angle C. We doesn't know that. So in order for you to find it, make sure you know the opposite side of it. So we are looking for what first? Angle B, because we know what? The side B. So what is the formula for this law of sine? Is sine B over B, so the 5, the side, over by sine. The only thing that we know is your A. So A is 58 degrees over by 4.5. We multiply the 5 over here so that this 5 is gone. And then once you take out, once you use your calculator to finish it, to calculate this, don't forget to do the arc sine of it because we need to find angle B. So please take out your calculator, calculate this value first, and then after that, you arc sine your answer. And this is 4.5. This is multiply. Anyone?
The 1.115.
And then you take the arcs. This one came out to be 0.9 something, right? Again, we don't care about this. You have to take the arc sine of it. So arc sine of this is what? I don't get that. Calvin, what you get?
0.9422. Is that what you got?
And then you, yep, and then you have to do the arc sine. Don't forget, arc sine it. You had to arc sine this one.
70.43.
So this is 70.44 degrees. Okay. So you guys all right here so far with this? This is the ambiguous case came out because when you use law of sine, you can have two quadrants. One is in quadrant 1 and one is in quadrant 2. So the one that you find out here is in quadrant 1 because 70 degrees is in quadrant 1. There is also another angle for this B in quadrant 2 because sine is also positive in quadrant 2. So how do you figure out what angle is correspond to 70.44? Is you take you subtract it from 180. So you take 180 because in order for you to find these angles in quadrant 2, you subtract it from 180. So what happens when you take this subtract one from 180? This came out to be 109.56 degrees. Okay. Now this is the one that you need to watch out to figure out how many. Now we definitely has not a zero triangles. The reason why is because when you use your calculator, you got an answer, right? You only get this when you get an error. So now we figure out, are we having one or two triangles? So now don't forget the question gives us one extra angle is 58. And we know that the sum has to be 180. So this is the rule says that if you sum these two angles, if the sum is more than 180 degrees, you only get one triangle, means you don't have the quadrant 2 triangles. So you only have this one. If your sum is less than 180 degrees, then you will have two triangles. So what do I mean in this case to figure out this is you add this number with the angles given in the question, 58. Now, if this sum is more than 180 degrees, then you only get one triangle. If this sum is less than 180 degrees, you will get two triangles. So can you tell me that is this sum is more than or less than 180 degrees? Less than. So that means in this case, we will have two triangles. Okay. So that means you're going to do this twice. One for the quadrant ones and one for quadrant two. Okay. Let's say that you found this number and this number is 139.56. Example. Oh, this number is, and now you put this 139.56 and you add with 58. What do you get here? Is that more than or less than 180 here? More than 180. So if you have such case, then you only have one triangle. So this whole thing that we did here, you do not need. So you just need to do just one part. Okay. So this is what happens when you get one triangles is when you find the 180 degrees, subtract this B quadrant two angles and you add it with this, and if they have more than 180 degrees, then you only have one triangles. Otherwise, you have two triangles. So for these questions, because I didn't use 139, it's still going to be the same as 109. So I just say example. So this has two triangles. So now we need to find angle C here. Now angle C is, well, if you know angle B, angle C is easy because the sum of all this is 180. So it's 180 minus 58 minus 70.44. So when you use your calculator, you will get an answer 70.44. So this is 51.56. And once you find angle C, then you will find the last one, the side C. So you use also law of cosine. So everything is law of C over by sine C, which is the 51.56 equals to, and since the A is given us, so we can still use A, which is sine 4.5. Don't forget, this is the length side first. So 4.5 over by sine 58. And what you do is you multiply this sine 51.56 here. Let's get rid of here. Now you will find the length C in this case. Okay. So some of you will label this as B1, C1, and C1 is telling us that this is for the first triangle. And then this is B2, C2, and C2 is for the second triangle. So using your calculators, we can find this very easily. 4.5 over by sine 58 times sine 51.56. So this C in this case is 4.16. We'll do the same thing for the second triangle. So we will find C2. So which is kind of the same thing as here. So you take 180 minus 58 minus 109.56. Very heavy on calculator in chapter 8. So make sure you have your calculator ready. So this is 12.44 degrees. So this is a C2. And now we want to find the length of this. So you can kind of figure out, it looks exactly like this. It's 4.5 times the sine of 58 times, divide by sine 58 times this sine, but we don't use 51.56 because this is C1, so we're going to use 12.44 here. So again, calculators. This C2 is 1.14. So you have to do quite a little bit of work if you have two triangles, because you have to find both of them. Anyone have any questions here? Questions? I want you guys to try question 4 here. A is 60 degrees. Little a is 4, little b is 14. Okay. Tell me what kind of triangle is this, and also tell me what law to use. I think this looks exactly like here. So this is 60 degrees with different numbers. 4 here and 14. So this is still missing angle B, angle C, and side C. And again, the triangle, since we got exactly the same the value, so this is actually is side angles, which will be law of sine. And this is ambiguous case where you can get 0, 1, or 2, 0, 1, 2 triangles. Only this has this special case. The rest is only have one triangle. And we still need to find angle B first, like what we did here. So go ahead, find angle B first. Very important. Henry, what'd you get? Henry, Andrew, Nukin, Ni, beside Kelvin.
Is it sine b over 14 equal to sine 60 over 4 times 14?
Over 4, right? And then you times 14. And then you use your calculator to figure this one out. And then after that, you take the arc sine. Anyone got an answer here? Nukin, Ni, what you get? Anyone?
3.
Yeah, I keep getting a domain error. I get 3.03.
Yes, you are correct. Yes, that is correct. When you put this in your calculator, you will get the domain error. Yes, it's not a mistake. And what is the meaning when I say domain? Oh, not yeah. And then you take that. Don't forget, Ani, you have to take the arc sine of it. Don't forget to take the arc sine of it. What does it mean by domain error? So how many triangles do you have for this kind of case? You get 0 triangle. Yes. So this is done. You do not need to do any more work for this. So because this triangle, if you draw, it will look, it's not even a triangle because your triangle will look something like that. It's not even a triangle because it won't finish drawing the line. So that is what happens when you've got 0 triangles, means that this will not even form a triangle for us. Okay. So this is how you figure out, you got no SSAs, ambiguous case, 0 triangles when you get a domain error in your calculator when you do the arcsine of it. This is also what happens when you get 1 or 2 triangles condition. It's very important. You have to add your sum and figure out, are they less than or more than 180? If it's more than 180, you get 1 triangle. If it's less than 180, you get 2 triangles. And again, class, this is only for what kind of triangles? SSA. So the rest of them that we did early on, they always only have 1 triangle, except for the SSA, you got 2 triangles. Questions? The next one we're going to talk about is how we use the Heron's area formula. So the Heron's area formula in this case is used to find the area of a triangle if I give you 3 sides. So example in this case will be like this. I give you 3 sides, side A, side B, side C. I want you to find the area of this triangle. So in order for you to apply this, you just need to use the formulas. So lots of formulas in here. So since they give you 3 sides, side A, side B, and side C, and the question is not asking you to find the angles. The question is asking you to find the area. So we will use the Heron's formula here. Okay. The Heron's formula is given us by the formula of square root of the area for this is given us by square root of s minus a, times s minus b, times s minus c. Where s, you have to find the s first. S in this case is a plus b plus c over 2. So this is finding the areas. So first, find the value of s. So you just take these values, put it back in here. So a is 75.4 plus b is 52 plus c is 52, and you divide this by 2. Okay, so don't forget the formula is divided by 2, not 3. Okay, a lot of students think like average, oh, 3 of them, so I divide by 3. This is divided by 2. Again, if you make sure you put your parentheses if you're using your calculators, you get you will get 89.7. And now in order for you to find the area, you just plug this into here. So S in this case is 89.7 times with, now you need to take 89.7 minus A. So 89.7 minus 75.4. So this will become 14.3. And then this, you take the 89.7 and you minus it from B. B is 52. So 89.7 take away 52, you get 37.7. Times the same thing. This 89.7 minus C, again, is 52. So when you minus this, is also 37.7. And you just multiply all these numbers and then take the square root of it. And that's your area of this triangle. So 89.7 times 14.3 times 37.7 times 37.7, and then you take the square root of it. So this area is 1,350.22 square units. Again, this question number 6 is not asking us to find the triangles. This question is asking us to find the area of it. So make sure you read the question carefully. Which are they looking for areas, or are they looking for to solve the triangle? If you're solving the triangles, then you do law of sine and law of cosine. If a question is asking to find the area, then you have to use the Heron's area formula. Now, if I give you three sides, what happens if I change this to become A is 75.4, B is 52, and capital C in this case is 52 degrees. So now you don't have three sides. I still want you to find the area of this triangle. Okay, so this question, they give you two sides and an angle. So if you draw the picture, I give you A, I give you B, and I give you this 52 degrees here, your angle C here. So in order for you to find the area of these triangles, you don't use the Heron's area formula because this is only used when I give you three sides. But if I give you two and an angle, then you use the area of a triangle formula, which is 1/2 AB sine C. Okay. So if a question did not provide you give you an angle but with two sides, where you get an SAS here, side angle side type, you will use this formula 1/2 AB sine C. So you just plug this back. 1/2 times A, which is 75.4, times B, which is 52, times sine B, which is sine 52 degrees. And you just use your calculator to do this. So very heavy on calculator. This will give us 1,544.82 square unit. Okay. Anyone have any questions for this? Questions? So read the question carefully. Okay. These two sections also have word problems. Okay. So word problems. So the word problems in these two sections, you need to know a little basic stuff before we move on. So the first thing you need to know, class, is from your geometry class, the alternate interior and alternate exterior angles. Now, you need to know this, very important. And what is the meaning when I say alternate interior and alternate exterior? So if you have two parallel lines and you have a transverse line that cross these parallel lines, you get four angles: angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 8 angles here. What is the meaning of the alternate interior angles? Interior means it's inside. Alternate means opposite direction. So you find out that if you look at this interior inside 3, 4, 5, 6, angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate. And when you have an alternate 3 and 6, alternate interior angle says that they are the same angles. So if this is 40 degrees, this is also 40 degrees. Same thing with angle 4 and angle 5. This is also the same angle because they are alternate interior angles. Okay. So that is called alternate interior angles, and they are the same angles. Alternate exterior angles. So now we talk about exterior. Alternate means different. So this now we talk about angle 1, 2, 7, 8. So 1 is the same as 8. So angle 1 is the same as angle 8. This is called the alternate exterior angle. And also angle 2 is the same as angle 7. So this is all very important because when we do word problems, this is used a lot. Second thing you need to know when you talk about, when we do the word problems here is bearings. Okay, so bearing is used a lot when you fly. If you want to be a pilot, okay, you talk about bearing. So bearing is always, this is class, very important, is always measured from the north and it goes clockwise. Okay, so for example, if I ask for bearing of 200 degrees, where is bearing 200 degrees? Don't forget, this is north, this is south, this is east, this is west. Okay, bearing is always measured from the north and it goes clockwise, so it goes this way. So this is 90 degrees, this is 180, this is 200. So this is the bearing of 200 degrees. The one is in quadrant 3. So it's very different from the angles you learned back in chapter 6, because the angle, if I ask you for where is angle 200 in chapter 6, we always start from the X, right? And we move counterclockwise. So this is 90, this is 180, 200 is here. So this is bearing 200. So this bearing and that bearing are two different bearings. So please, when we talk about bearing, we don't use this, we use this one. Okay, you guys okay here? Because if you don't get this, say goodbye to your word problems. Let me give you another one. Can you tell me where is bearing 310 degrees? Anyone? What quadrant is 310 degrees? Anyone?
Two.
So you go 90 from north, clockwise, 180, this is 270. So 310 is back in quadrant 2. So yep, this is your bearing 310 degrees. If this is 310 degrees, can someone tell me what is this degrees? The one in blue.
50 degrees.
50, because the whole thing is 60, right? The whole thing is 360, right? Now, for this, if this is 200, can you tell me what is this blue one is? Anyone? Back to this 200. What is this blue one?
70.
70, because the whole thing is 270. So this is 200. If you know that is 70, then can you tell me what is the purple one here?
20.
20, because 90 degrees forms the whole quadrant, right? So make sure you guys know all this basic. It's considered basic stuff. Because if you guys learn geometry in your high school, then you should be able to do this. Okay. So now we're gonna talk about question 7. This is your word problem here. So this is a bearing. So we got a plane. So a plane is flight from Franklin to Centerville with 810 miles with a bearing of 75 degrees. So what is this means is, I'm going to draw a little bit here. So this is the bearing of Franklin. So you're traveling from Franklin, I use F for Franklin, to Centerville. they are 810 miles apart. Okay. And the bearing 75. So can someone draw me a 75 degrees bearing? What quadrant it belongs to? So again, it's measured from the north. So it go clockwise. So this is the bearing. This is the direction of the plane. The plane is flying this direction. It's 75 degrees. And you will reach Centerville. And this two is 810 miles apart. Okay. So this is the first sentence. The second sentence says that it flies 648 miles from Centerville to Rosemont with a bearing of 32 degrees. So now the plane is in Centerville, which is right here. Now he has to fly to Rosemont with the bearing of 32 degrees. So can someone tell me where is Rosemont at? The plane is right here now in Centerville. What quadrant it goes? So 32 degree is somewhere here from north, and it goes all the way. So this is 32 degrees, just this little green stuff. And this is Rosemont. How far is this two cities? Is 648. On your mouse. Now we need to figure out what is the straight line distance from Franklin to Rosemont. So the question is asking is, what if you just fly straight from Franklin to Rosemont, what is the distance and what is the bearing? Put a B here. So don't forget, bearing is always measured from north and go that way. So this is a question you will get in your test, in your finals. Okay. So this is the, say, draw a picture. So this is what your picture looks like. Anyone have any questions with the picture? Okay. I'm going to take attendance. So go ahead and put present in your attendance. So now we're going to play around with this triangle. So I'm going to, the main part of this is we need to find angles. We cannot find, so we know this is 32. So now our main goal is to figure out what is this total angles. Because if you know this angle, this triangle is called SAS. So we know the side, we know that if we know the angle, we know the side. And SAS, what law do we use here? Law of cosine or law of sine? Anyone remember SAS? What law do we use?
Cosine.
SAS is law of cosine. So if we know this, yeah. But my main question is we need to find this angle. Now we only know part of this. This is 32. So if I dissect this, if you zoom in and dissect this. So if this is 32, so this can anyone tell how you find this whole thing? Now this one is exactly what? 90, right? Because it's a whole quadrant. The only thing that we're missing part is this purple one. So if you know this purple one, then we just add 32 plus 90 plus the purple. Then you get the whole angles. But anyone know how to find this purple? So this is where the tough part is. So this is where we use your alternate interior or exterior angles. So this purple, because this your north-south and your east-west are parallel. So if you look carefully, this goes zigzagging. So this purple is the same as this purple. Because as you know that alternate interior exterior says these two angles are the same angle. So can someone tell me what is this angle is?
15.
15. So we know that this purple will be what?
15.
15. So what is the whole angle in this case? You just add 32, 90, and 15. So this is the one that in the test, a lot of students struggle with this, finding this angle is because of they didn't use the alternate interior exterior angle to see the whole picture. So 32 plus 90 plus 15, this is 137. So now we know this angle, so we can use law of cosine to do this. So our law of cosine says that if you want to find this angle x, this side x, it is the square root of these two. Let me give you back the law of cosine here. So law of cosine say is you want to find this length is this two, the square, so 810 square plus 648 square minus 2 times this two, 810, 648 cosine of this 137. Yep. So again, take out your calculator and what? Do this. Square root of that. There's a lot of numbers to type in here. This you will get 1,357.85 miles. So now we found how far is this from Franklin to Rosemont. How far is this? This is your distance. The question also asking for the bearing. Again, the bearing is the B, and the bearing is always measured from the north. But the B is not inside this triangle. You see this? The B is not inside this triangle. So that means that you have to find what is this red angle here. Okay. So if you find this, let's say this is angle A. Because if you know angle A, you should know angle B, because angle A plus angle B should give you the bearing of 75 degrees. Because if you look at 75 degrees is actually goes from this till from Franklin to Centerville. So that means this whole from here to here is 75. So if you break this into two angles, that means if you add A and B, you will get the bearing 75. So we just need to find what is angle A is, plug it back in here, and then subtract it, and then you get angle B. So in order for us to find angle A here, we're still going to use law of cosine. So cosine A. What sides form this angle A? The side in this case is X and 810. So these are the two sides that form angle A. So the X in this case is this. So you will do A and S squared plus 810. So that is the two sides that form your angle A. You subtract this from 648. This is a formula for law of cosine. Over by 2 times your ANS times 810. And don't forget to put parentheses around here because we are dividing. Yeah, this is quite a bit of work here. So the answer that we have is that if you don't want to use ANS, you can use this 1357.85, but ANS is definitely easier to use. So parentheses ANS squared plus 810 squared minus 648 square here. Close your parentheses, divided by, open your parentheses, 2 times ANS times 810. And then don't forget, once you get your answer, you take the arc cosine of it. Okay, whatever you get, that's how you find your A. So arc cosine of your answer in this case is close to 19 degrees. This is going to be 18.99. So it's close to 19 degrees. This is not your answer. This is just angle A. The bearing is actually angle B. So now what you do is you replace 19 in A. Then you can find your bearing. So if you subtract 19 here, so 75 take away 19, that is your answer. So 75 take away 19. So this is 56. So your bearing in this case is a 56 degrees. Okay, so this is not your answer. This is just for angle A. This is your answer. So your answer in this case is the distance is 1,357.85 miles, and the bearing to Rosemont from Franklin to Rosemont is 56 degrees. So this is how we do this kind of questions. Yes, it is difficult. I didn't say this is easy. You do need to practice a bit on it. So again, the word problems you see here, if they talk about bearings, make sure you understand how we draw your bearings. And majority of the word problems that you do here require you to know the alternate interior or alternate exterior angles that you learn in your geometry class. Okay. So like this case, like the purple angle that I mentioned here. So make sure you guys know that if you want to find this, make sure you look for the line here, and that will tell you that that purple is following that. Anyone have any questions for me here before we end the Zoom today?